Hi, this video is to help you interpret our S Corp tax test report. I'm Giles Pearson. I'm the co-founder of Account Tests and also the author of this test. So if your practice has a heavy focus on S Corps and you're trying to hire in and around that senior tax associate level, 3 to 5 years experience, then this test is the right one. You wouldn't use this test and the partnership test together, nor would you use it with one of the other tax skills tests. But because so many firms specialise in S Corps, we created this test specifically to meet the needs of those firms.
Looking at the report, you can see at the top right hand side is the order number, and that's the order number you'll need for any time you want to look up a test in our testing portal. At the bottom of the first page you can see the time taken. This test has an allocated time of 40 minutes, so if that time taken says 40, that means your candidate was still working on the test when their time ran out. Otherwise you can see how long they spent in the test. The start and finish times tell you the date and time the candidate entered and exited the testing platform, which includes the time for them filling out their details in the biodata and doing some sample questions. If you go through to the next page, this gives you some background. It also gives you a link to our website about the proctoring. All of the tests are proctored. What that means is that as the candidate is doing the test, their camera is on and it's making sure that they're doing the test under fair exam conditions. This includes monitoring who's taking the test, the use of other devices, and if they're accessing other windows on the device that they're using. Each test report like this comes with a proctoring report, which for privacy reasons you can only access by logging in to the testing platform. So follow the link to the website to see a video there which helps you interpret the proctoring report and also make sure that you know how to find that proctoring report in the testing portal.
If we go through to the next page, you can see the candidate result. So this test was put together by us, but also with the help of an expert group of tax CPAs. So what the expert group did was to grade a large question set of appropriate questions. They graded them by difficulty and also made sure the questions were valid and the answers were correct, so that out of that we were able to pick out the questions to include in the test. The expert group also then said that in their view a candidate needed to be 75% correct in their answers to show competency at the level of a senior tax associate. So this page shows you how the candidate did and where they sit compared to that competency threshold. It shows the analysis of the 40 questions. The green bar is the questions they got right, the red bar is the questions they got wrong, and if there's a grey bar, that's any questions that they didn't answer. Then further down the page you can see a split between the questions that relate specifically to S Corps and questions relating more generally to pass-through entities and the members or owners of those entities. On the next page we break it down a little further, in essence between conceptual and practical knowledge, of which you need both. But this analysis might help if you're considering further training topics.
On the next page we go through question by question. So what was the question about? Which topic was it in? Did the candidate get it right or wrong? And if there is a grey circle, that means that they didn't answer the question. If you see a lot of omitted questions, that normally means the candidate's run out of time. What that in turn means is the material was probably too hard for them. They were struggling, so typically you'll see a candidate that runs out of time. They also do relatively poorly on the test. For a candidate who's confident in the material, 40 minutes is long enough to comfortably answer all the questions. The last page gives you some hints about interpretation, which is pretty much what we're doing here, and our contact details. So if you ever have any questions on a test report you've got in front of you or anything else you want to ask, don't hesitate to get in contact with us at help@accounttests.com. Thanks for watching this video.